Yo, dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days, coming to you from the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California with a Gray Night tutorial. Gray Nights are secretly easy. I'm going to walk you through some of the secretly easy techniques to doing this OG workup. I primed it with Surface Primer Ghost Gray Vallejo Air Thinner. I've got a few tutorials already on how I like to thin these primers out. When working with an old school model with subtle details, I'm going to be using airbrush primer. Now we're going to be making some custom metallic effects. I'm going to be using the Pro Acryl line, metallic mixing medium, some of that dark blue, some of that OG silver, maybe even a little bit of dark neutral gray. We're going to mix it all together, try to create a lacquered, matted blue steel. Now I do got that new bottle with the bigger agitator, as you can see there, just in time because some of my smaller bottles are getting a little worn out with those small agitators. But basically, it's easy. Just go from the heart. Mix it up, make it look its best. It's going to be nice and matted, a little lacquered. Like, it's going to look really classy. And just mix it to taste. Now, if you're going to do a whole bunch of these guys for your brand new Gray Night army, you can mix it all up ahead of time, then put it in a pot and then draw upon it. Or just remember the percentages that you went with as you go through the project. So as all things with airbrush, we like to start a little dark, work our way up to the bright stuff. So that's why the dark neutral gray has made it into the mix. We thinned it down a little bit and we're just going to start spraying this mix over that ghost gray, several thin coats. Once we get the bulk of it done, I'm going to reset, throw a little bit more water, maybe a little bit more flow improver in the pot, do another pass. The reason I like to do this is so that we don't build up too much paint on the big flat areas as we're trying to get it to force itself into all the crevices and the deeper recesses of the model. Just an old little trick. And it's already a beautiful color. I mean, you could just do them like this and dry brush them. No one would be mad at you. They'd look amazing. But I'm going to try to capture that old school feeling for the Gray Nights. Like a solid, like old school night, you know? And we're just going to build some more silver back up in the pot now, using some of the previous color to draw upon and marry them together for a highlight. Top down, simple. Aiming from the top, letting the airbrush skitter off all the details, create some nice highlights. But you know, we're not going to go too dramatic here because we are going to try to go for that GW workup, you know. We're going to throw a little bit more mixing medium, some of that metallic stuff in the pot, a little bit more silver. We're going to brighten it up for another highlight pass. I'm drawing upon some of our previous mix to blue it back up. Drawing upon the previous colors for that marriage. And this is going to be more of that matted metallic, right? There's a little bit more paint that's not metallic in it than metallic medium. And it's going to look real solid, be a very nice grade steel. As you can see, it's looking beautiful. Now, while that dries, we're going to just cut in some random details using a various assortment of colors. Pull your favorite golds out. I'm using a light bronze here. I don't give a shit. First gold that was closest to me, and all gold's the same. It's metallic yellow. So we're just going to bang it out, lock in the clean details. Next Level Painting 101. Airbrush, some sick transitions, get some neat details locked in. And then we're going to use some wash. I'm going to show you an easy way to wash a model like this. A fire and forget method with some of that wash tech as we go. And of course, we will do some highlighting. We'll make this guy look his absolute best. There it is. All the golds are kind of locked in. Now we're going to do some of the parchment. We're just going to use random brown, random bone color. Paint the base colors of all of the purity seals and whatnot. Mix a little white into it for a second pass. Build it up. It's not science. You don't even need to know what colors I use because I don't know. I just literally grab the brown and a bone color and then like slowly just do several thin layers to taste. Grab your favorite red. I'm using a burnt red right here. Lock in all the red deets that are notoriously scattered amongst the Gray Night lineup. There's other browns in there like books and shit. You know what to do there. Need some black. We're using some transparent black from Pro Acryl just to cut in some of these blacks. Do the eyes with your favorite blue. I'm using a sky blue or a cyan. We're basic. What color, what brand you use, doesn't matter. Until you discuss in the oil wash. We're using that Mr. Hobby Weathering Multi-Black, which has made an appearance in so many of my recent videos with some of that weathering solvent. And what we're going to do is pour a bunch of the solvent into a big cap. Just put a few like brushfuls of oil wash into it. I'm using a Monument Balm Wick number 2. I use a nice solid sable brush for my oils. Good brush, good wash. Simple as that. Now this is incredibly thin. It's mostly solvent, which is going to be perfect for this metallic because it's only going to slightly interact with the raised areas and it's going to find its way to the crevices. It's going to be a lot more subtle than a lot of our multi-black workups, but it is going to create a very nice, clean sci-fi space night. And you notice that we did slap them on a base. This is one of the new resin bases from Elrik's Hobbies. Looks like a kind of a cracked desert Mars base, but it looks really good, like maybe he's in the warp on a demon world or some shit. So I did do that video. I didn't do that video, but I did that base real quick. Super simple. I'm going to be doing more of those bases on Twitch. Shout out to Elrik's. Now we're just moving that Mr. Hobby wash around using the brush with just some pure solvent. Doing a little bit of cleanup anywhere you see any pooling. Now it's dry. Now we're going to do some edge highlights. Just grab that pure steel. Nothing else in it. Your favorite little detail brush, and to just start popping out some of the deets. The metals are very forgiving. So if you get a little loose, little sloppy on these highlights, it's going to look just fine. And just start carving them in like you would with almost any model. And really start boxing it out. He's got lots of great lines. This old pewter model. Still very charming in 2020. Looking beautiful. Very box arty GW style. Now obviously you'll notice he's missing some crucial accents for the Grey Knight lineup in that power sword, which we're going to get to that Nemesis 4 sword here in 1 second. Once we get all these nice little silver details locked in. There we go. Framing out his armor, making him look beautiful. Damn, that guy's looking fresh. Grey Knights, super powerful on the tabletop too. Now, seriously, get some of that sky blue. Throw it in the airbrush. Let's just paint the sword real quick. Hit it with that blue. Sometimes I like to use the black and do lightning, all sorts of crazy things, but we're going to do it like an old school effect. We're going to do the OG crossfade, and we're going to do it with no tape, no masking whatsoever. We're going to get some white, mix it into the pot, and we're going to do some opposing highlights, leaving some of the dark area in between, and then we're going to reverse it on the other side of the blade, you see? Pow, pow. Should be 3 blasts. Top, bottom, middle. So it looks silly until we do the edge highlighting. But normally, in the past, I would have used tape for this, but you don't need to. Just gotta be careful with the angles. And if you get any overspray on the hilt of the sword, you can always clean that up. No big deal. So we're gonna grab some pure white, throw it inside the pot so it's very bright now. We're gonna amp up those highlights just a little bit, make them look the shiniest. Just being cognizant of the angles as we move the model around. Super simple. You can do ton of these guys. Now we're using some of that Pro Krill transparent black thinned down with some water, and we're going to add some shadows in the negative space. Top, bottom, middle. See, they are opposing the reflective bright areas of the other side of the blade. Now as you look at it, you can be like, okay, that's starting to make sense. Still looks like a hot mess, but now you can see what we're doing here. It's a very simple 1-2 punch. It's all about the edge highlights. Now we're going to be using some pure white, a very small detail brush, and we're going to lock in some solid highlights. And as soon as the highlight starts to be deployed, you're going to be like, oh shit, look at that. And we're using the flat of the brush, just running it along the hard edge, that 90-degree angle that the sword is creating. And we're just doing some low impact highlighting. There's enough of an angle in the center of the blade that you can even do this on the center of the blade without messing up. And look at that. Boxing it in, instantly starting to look reflective, solid 4 sword, straight crisp. We'll do that center line too here in 1 second. Very simple. Just lay it back like this. Skirt that edge. Very light brush pressure. Look at that. All in a day's work. Grey Knights, streaks, pow. Look at this. Just use the tip of your brush, pull straight back to your heart. Easy mode, secretly easy. You think we spent 1,000,000 minutes on this model. We did not. Loving that Grey Knight life. I've painted so many of these Grey Knight armies in the past. I'm happy that they're coming back. We need to do one quick base accent. Shout out to Shadow's Edge, sending me some tufts of grass, self-adhesive. Now, these are the only grasses I've ever used that are truly self-adhesive, that they require literally no glue. We're going to put it down over here, and then I'm going to give it a little tug, little kneading. Let it sit there for a second, and we're going to just, see what's up. It's still in there. It doesn't fall off. Give it a little yank. Beautiful. We're going to use a little bit of the leftover oil wash that's still in that cap, and I like to wash the base of my grass tufts. Don't let it just ride like that. Throw a little wash in there, kind of dirty it up a little bit on the contact point to the base, make it look its best, dirtiest, and ties in with this mesa kind of cracked Mars Earth base. Beautiful, realistic, yet subtle. And there he is. Grey Knights all day, every day. People are going to be running paladins again, character spam. It's going to be a whole new Grey Knight world out there. Guys, thanks for checking out this video. Play on, players. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.